Hello and welcome to your straight hair video. So I found a girl, she has a lot of highlights. You probably have less highlights, but I just want to get you guys going on the process of layering. So I am off padding. Though I already kind of drew out the contour outline, and I gave myself guidelines for where the highlights were, and I did length and direction a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to start in with holding my pencil in the middle, or you can hold it towards the end, whatever you're most comfortable with. And I'm looking right up next to that like piece that overlaps. And then she does have some scalp showing. So if you have scalp showing, you can put that in there. We're just going to fade it into the hair. Like especially if you have a part or a braid or something. Okay, so it's definitely lighter, and then I'm looking pretty closely at like, do I have chunks of hair I can add in? That comes down a little bit more. All right, then on this back side, like little flicking motions. And so even though her hair is straight, I'm just not like drawing long straight strands. You're gonna do like some short, some medium length, and then they're gonna blend in and look long. Just like you have long hair, but not every strand is the same length. So sweeping motion. Just gonna fade that out for now. Okay, so she does have this lighter chunk in here. That just kind of fades out into the darkness. So I am definitely lightening my pressure. On the side that the light is coming from, so for her, the light's coming more on the right-hand side, so she definitely has some lighter values. But here on the left, and if you have nothing, I would take a closer look at your picture, the digital version, and not, if you have it on your phone, look at your phone. Because she has some subtle highlights happening there. So I'm definitely holding my pencil at the end, and I'm just doing like a couple sweeping motions just to make it look like a texture of hair. So like, oh, you can barely see that. Okay, that's good because it's on the dark side. So I put like just a few kind of sweeping motions just to make it look like the texture of hair. All right, so over here, same thing. Like it's subtle because it's facing away from the light, but I just don't want that white outline of the hair being there. I'm gonna kind of fade that in a little. We can fake it. Nobody's gonna know that that's not what your hair looks like perfectly. Okay, so down here it's getting lighter. Going off the page. Okay, so what you're gonna do, I would say at least like 3 to 4 layers. So the first one is just to get location of value. Okay, so over here it's highlighted, so I'm looking at like where's the bulk of the highlight. Okay, then I'm gonna fade that in. Like kind of flicking in with less lines. Okay, and then I feel like this piece comes a little higher. So sweeping motion. And hair I feel is a lot easier with the white charcoal because you actually have to do less. All right, I don't want to get too much, so let's just stop there. Depending on how big your hair is in your final draft, I'm going to use my bigger blender. You might want to use your medium. And I call this touch blending. So we're not doing circular motion. You're just going to touch the blender in the direction that the hair is going. Okay, so I'm definitely getting her scalp in there. And you can definitely do some longer, longer streaks for the longer parts. But short kind of sweeping motion. All right, highlight. Actually, I'm scared that this is gonna get really light. So I'm gonna pull up and then I'm gonna pull down, just like I added. So up and over into the scalp kind of. or the back of the head. Okay, so then your blender's gonna get full of charcoal. So in your border, I would kind of like clean it off so you can tell how dirty it is. Or if you have a light end and a dark end, then you can switch ends. Okay, with your pencil eraser, and I'm going to sharpen mine real fast. I apologize, I didn't have that done already. You want to sharpen it with the red sharpener. And then we're going to do the same thing, but we're gonna go a little bit more where it's darker, and we're gonna pull some like strands of hair where the highlights are. So over here, even though that area is really light, I want a lot of variety. Or if I got too light, or like for this, I feel like I got, not, oh, that paper's coming off. Be careful. Be careful. Definitely go back. Actually, I'm going to go the opposite direction. There we go. Pull back in. Kind of get rid of that outline a little bit in here. Okay, so then you can use toilet paper to gently brush off, or if you're brushing off, go in the direction of your hair. You can also use your kneaded eraser. So in areas that are getting a little bit too light, like I would say in here a little, I shouldn't have gotten anything there because it's pretty dark. But then I'm going to pinch the kneaded eraser to come to a point, and I'm going to pull back out. Like if you have some darker streaks that you need to put back in, you just have to keep like re-pinching when you do this. And so I'm going to go down here and do the same thing. Okay, next layer, same. I start out where the light values are and just do sweeping motions. So you're building up your layers. And now that you kind of have a little more of a structure to the hair, I mean, you can, like, you're like, this area is really light. Well, if it's really light, just add more lines. Like right here, it's really light where it grows out. I'm gonna fade that part down. Sweeping motion. Trying to get that chunk in there. Okay, there we go. That's in there. Okay, this side. I'm gonna start in the middle, kind of add another layer, and then flick in. Oh, it is lighter up there. Okay, so now fading down from the highlight, I'm going to start in the center again, but flick out. And be so thankful that your hair is straight. You have the easiest hair to do. Well, you have layers, but it's fairly easy. I wouldn't say it's the easiest. Okay, so I'm trying to press hardly at all. All right, same thing again. You're gonna blend in the direction, sweeping kind of motion. And I'm using the whole side of the blender when I'm getting like done in this area. I feel like that's getting a little too light. So I feel like this, I would say 2 layers over the whole thing. Oh yeah, I forgot. Pull back up. I would say 2 layers over the whole thing, and then probably the 3rd and 4th layer you're just refining and adding like another layer to the lightest parts and like kind of putting in a little more detail. Okay, I'm gonna just use my kneaded eraser. I feel like this on this hair it works a little bit better. Okay, so I'm looking like growing out of that scalp part, it's darker. So I'm gonna kind of put that back in. I missed like there was like a darker piece there, darker piece back in here. So I'm looking for major dark parts. And then here it's pretty dark, so I'm gonna do some streaky, and I can do a couple lines up into the highlights. We're still gonna work on the highlights, but now is the time where you're gonna bring back the darks. I know where this part, I feel like I got a little too light. Okay, all right, definitely need some work on this side. I'm gonna pull the darks back in. Like this one looks a little choppy. I'm definitely going to work on that with the highlight, the next layer. Okay, so then we're in. Okay, so now this hopefully well, this might not be your last layer of highlights. You might blend again in the highlights. I feel like her highlights need to be built up a little bit more. I would sharpen your pencil if you need to. And now I'm being like really precise where I'm putting the light values. It's pretty much just the light values we're adding to. Same kind of, and if you need to fill in, like I feel like this looked a little too liney over here. Just a chunk that gets lighter down here. So I'm actually going to pull from the border. I'm going right on the edge and flicking up so it doesn't look like a weird ending to her hair. So if your hair goes off the page, you might want to do that, pull in from the border a little. Okay, so I would blend that, touch blend, and then you might not erase out. So I feel like there I don't really need to erase out again, but it's still lighter right in here. And so in that last layer, if you can get it not have to blend in, then you can just kind of leave it so it looks really liney. Okay, so for this side, I think I need to pay closer attention to these little chunks. So I am holding my pencil kind of towards the end as much as I can. So it's really light, kind of fading into the dark value. Okay, that I would blend for sure. Actually, I'm gonna do medium so I'm not getting these big kind of chalky. So blend up into the dark and like down into the dark. Okay, then I would, oh, that's so nice blended, sorry. Needs to look smoother. Okay, then I would probably just do another layer and then not blend. So about 3 to 4 layers for this hair, but the first 2 are like everywhere, and then the last 2 you're just kind of layering and perfecting the light parts. And of course, like look at it from far away, like put your picture a couple feet away, start your drawing a couple feet away, look at the picture, and then you can kind of come back and like when I look, like over here, this got a little too light, so then I can erase out some kind of streaks and then I just won't blend, etc. So, and then compared to your skin, like her skin's very light. So if I had really light skin, her hair would probably look darker. Right now it looks kind of light to me, but compared to your skin, compared to your clothes, etc. All right, I will see you in the next video.